I've taken the liberty of asking the ambassador to come over here. We both felt that a friendly conference would settle everything peacefully. He'll be here any moment.
Mrs. Teasdale, you did a noble deed. I'd be unworthy of the high trust that's been placed in me if I didn't do everything within my power to keep our beloved Fredonia at peace with the world. I'd be only too happy to meet Ambassador Trentino and offer him on behalf of my country the right hand of good fellowship. And I feel sure that he will accept this gesture in the spirit in which it is offered. But suppose he doesn't? A fine thing that'll be. I hold out my hand and he refuses to accept it. That'll add a lot to my prestige, won't it? Me, the head of a country, snubbed by a foreign ambassador. Who does he think he is, that he can come here and make a sap out of me in front of all my people? Think of it. I hold out my hand, and that hyena refuses to accept it. Why, the cheap, four-flushing swine, he'll never get away with it, I tell you. He'll never get away with it. Please. So, you refuse to shake hands with me, eh?
Oh! Mrs. Teasdale, this is the last straw. There's no turning back now. This means war.
What does power look like? Power looks like a gesture. Gestures are mute, but they speak volumes. We use gestures to communicate a wide variety of thoughts, feelings, opinions, and messages. Gestures are a ritual form of communication. They layer with words when we speak. Gestures can sit behind speech, giving our words their somatic context. But they can also stand beside or in front of speech, like corporeal punctuation. Gestures give emotional tone to our interactions. Gestures are bodily utterances. Gestures are quiet but clear. Handshakes. A handshake is a gesture. A handshake is a gestural interaction between two people. A handshake equalizes things just for a moment. Symmetry. Mirroring. Proximity. Acknowledgement. A handshake is a temporary moment of equality. Hands reach out from their hierarchy. One hand recognizes the other. When the hands return to their owners, hierarchy returns.
Put your hand in the hand of the man.
The illocutionary and the perlocutionary. The force and the meaning. The illocutionary is the force contained within the handshake. The perlocutionary is the meaning of the handshake in the world as it is. Some handshakes bring the perlocutionary to bear on the illocutionary. Some handshakes bring the meaning of the world as it is to bear down on the gestural force of the handshake. Some handshakes show us who is who and what is what. Some handshakes look like a power grab.
It's a hard hand to hold that is looking for control.
A violent jerking. The handshake of an insecure leader. To shake hands, we have to be close. But proximity requires a certain distance. We are not they. And the ability to shake hands is founded on this distinction. We cannot shake hands with ourselves. Some handshakes want to pull us in ever nearer. Some handshakes want to close the gap that makes closeness possible. If distance collapses, so does proximity. We cannot reach out to meet one another if we are standing in the same spot. If we are pulled too close, we recoil. We flinch. We reject. We retract. If we recoil, we turn away from the face of the other. We can no longer be summoned. Symmetry is not sameness. We cannot shake hands with ourselves.
Keep your hands on. Keep your hands on. Keep your hands on. Keep your hands.
Submission. The handshake of a cult. A handshake takes place on an equal plane. Hands align to meet in the middle. Some handshakes impose a vertical relation on the position of the hands. Altitudinal inequality. High and low. Above and below. Some handshakes have to be taught. Some handshakes have to be learned. A small group. A strict hierarchy. A ritual admission. An agreement. Submission. The meaning of words and gestures can be changed by those at the top. And these changes must be accepted by those below. Every time the hands shake, they submit to the new meaning. The perlocutionary is squeezed into the illocutionary, turns it over, makes it anew. Embodied status, felt with the fingers. Autonomy submits to rank. Superior above, inferior below. Active, passive. Imperative, homogeneous. Domination, submission. Master, slave. Haptic knowledge. Knowledge held in the hands. How do we speak about handshakes? How do we speak about what handshakes know? Descriptive language does performative work. Handshakes can be weak, strong, firm, floppy, wet, short, long, or jerky. These words do more than they say. They suggest a microphysics of power, an effective theory of relative status. Our contempt, our reverence, our resentment, our disgust, our respect, our awkwardness, our joy, our embarrassment, our relief, our anger, our humiliation. These feelings feel equality, inferiority, or superiority. These feelings feel power. These feelings are not felt nor held in the hands, but they come through and around the handshake. Gestures have a tone. Tone shows us what power looks like, when power looks like a gesture. In the next video, we'll be spending time with those feelings. Feelings like resentment, reverence, contempt and disgust. And asking, what happens when power looks like an emotion? What does power look like then?